Yo, yo, it's JSF, and something I've really wanted to talk about with Guilty Gear Strive is the balance of the game and the balance of the characters in the game, like overall balance and characters specifically. And I can't, in all good conscience, talk about the overall balance of the game, or even really characters, if I don't talk about the elephant in the room, the obvious most overpowered character in the game, which is Soul Badguy. And there is a lot to talk about with this character, and I wanted to talk more specifically about how to balance this character, which basically means how to nerf this character, right? Because we all know, we've all seen the clips. If you haven't seen the Twitter clips, you're seeing them now. We all know that Soul is ridiculous. He's absurd. But he's also very interesting and entertaining to watch. So I mean, Soul needs to be nerfed. Whether other characters get buffed or not, he needs to be nerfed. So I want to talk about how to nerf Soul Badguy, how to balance this character, but I want to preface it with saying I don't believe this character should be butchered, because if you just absolutely butcher Soul, then the best characters in the game become Leo and May. If you butcher all three of those characters, the best character becomes Axel. I think you have to slightly tone some stuff down, and I think once you tone down a few specific things, a few key things, like, you won't have to do that much to Soul. So anyway, Soul Badguy. I can't talk about Soul and balance without talking about, the obvious, Far Slash, right? Now, the thing about Far Slash, if you don't know why it's so ridiculous, the range isn't as bad as it looks, right? You see that, like, it hits from this, about round startish range, like, it hits right there. Right, so it's got more range than it looks. It's +2 on block. It leads to a shit ton of damage. If you have meter, I could have got more than that and broke the wall. But I'm saying if you have meter, it does a ton. If you don't have meter, depending on how you hit and where you hit, you know what I mean? Depending on whether you have corner or not, even with no meter, you can still get good damage. Like, the button is insane. I don't even think much needs to change with this button, honestly, even though it's really, really stupid, has very little recovery, all this. I think everything about this move can stay the same, except that it should be 0 on block instead of plus. It probably should be -1, honestly, instead of, like, it should either be 0 or -1. And if you don't really understand, in this game, Far Slashes are not plus. Every other character's Far Slash is negative. I think the closest one to being positive is like -6 or -7. His is +2. So, like, when you look at it in the grand scheme of the game, like through the lens of this game specifically, it's kind of insane that he has a positive Far Slash. His close slash is +3 on block, and that doesn't even need to change. But this should not be so spammable. And the reason why it's so important that this can't be plus, and even though it is plus, there are options, right? Oh, you can 6P. There's shit you can do, right? Like, if I were to set, just as an example, if I were to set him to 6P, right? So, right? After I do this, he's gonna 6P. Obviously, the 6P smokes it, right? But if you know that's coming, there's counterplay to that too. So, like, there is no just universal answer. If your brain dead just mashing Far Slash, yeah, you're gonna lose to that. But a Soul player with half a brain, cool, easy with punish. You know what I mean? Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Now look at your life bar because you tried to do the right thing. That's why this can't be plus. The other reason why this can't be plus, if I take this off, the other reason why this can't be plus is look at your wrist gauge. If you don't know what the wrist gauge is, it's underneath the burst meter, it's your guard crank, your guard meter. When you block something, this goes up. This does a ton of risk. And the more wrist gauge you have built up, the more damage I do. And once it gets up here, like, you get auto counter hits, right? Once it gets up there, the next hit is automatically a counter hit. If you don't know why counter hit is such a big deal, if you don't know, I don't have his wrist built up, but if you don't know why counter hit is a big deal, this button on counter hit, you get a totally different combo route, which, you know what I mean? You get a totally different combo route, which normally isn't even possible, and you get even more damage, obviously. So yeah, that move cannot be plus. That's the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is 5K. This 3-frame button, great. If you're not aware, It's an amazing anti-air. I did it super late. But as you can see, right, it's a really good anti-air. If I do it early, it's gonna smoke it, but I want to time it to get both hits. But as you can see, and the thing is, it doesn't just anti-air. Like, you can get mad combos off of it. You can land and relaunch with it. It's absurd. It's 3 frames, which makes it good. People use this on wake up. It's too fast. This needs to be 5 frames. He has a 4-frame jab as it is. I think this will help mitigate some of his combo routes, or at least make them harder to do. And I don't want to get rid of his combo routes. I think they're really cool and they should stay. But some of the more ridiculously absurd combos that go on, they're like 30 hits, they probably won't exist anymore, and they shouldn't, because other characters can't do half of that. But Soul should still have some of the combo routes that he has. I don't think they should all go away. I think it's one of the things that makes him cool. But I think he shouldn't be able to do 85 hits in a combo when most characters can do 7 or 8. I think that's absurd. Also, this move needs to scale like a jab. And at first glance, it might seem like it does, right? Right? It seems about the same, a little bit more. But it's really not, because it's 2 hits. And this doesn't even... Right? It's not exactly the same. It needs to scale like... If I were to do this, right? 79 damage. 92 damage. Like, when you get more into the combo routes and whatnot, this does not scale like this would. And I think it should. I think it should scale a little bit heavier. I think that'll help with some of the absurd damage in his combos. If you keep doing a bunch of 5Ks, which is a 3-frame button. I mean, even if it's a 5-frame button, a lot of characters have 5-frame jabs. Some characters have 6-frame jabs, right? So it's still an extremely fast button, extremely good button. So it needs to scale a little bit more. You don't have to butcher it, but like, his damage is OD. We know that. So that's the next change. The next change is a simple one. Bandit Bringer. This move is -2 on block, which is stupid, but I'm not even gonna say that you need to change that, right? Because technically, -2 is punishable by throw. If I have him mash, throw, and I have him block, theoretically, that's a punish, right? So for those of y'all who don't know, it's technically punishable. The thing is, it's not punishable at every range. If you space it out, you know, it doesn't work. Up close, it's an absolute punish. The problem with this move is not even that. I'm not even gonna say change that. I'm just saying give it some whiff recovery, because it has absolutely no whiff recovery. There's been plenty of times in a match I see my opponent whiff this and I try to whiff punish him, and you can't. And you're not gonna punish him while he's in the middle of the animation, because that's how you get smoked. So if he whiffs this and he's still free to move willy-nilly, it's like there's no landing recovery. Like, you know how you jump and you do an air move, you have landing recovery when you hit the ground? This move doesn't really have that. So I think it needs a little bit of landing recovery. That's really the only change I'll make to this move. And speaking of recovery, I gotta talk about his /DP. This move has absolutely no recovery. It's kind of a meme at this point that people will do DP with DP into another DP. And if you try to whiff punish the first one, you'll get hit by the second one and counter hit. So it's like, why would I even try to whiff punish a DP? And it's pretty ridiculous. Like, I understand that in this game, it's kind of a design choice that the slash version of reversals have very little recovery. Even Maze / Up Dolphin has very little recovery. I at least from what I've seen. You know, Leo's / Flash Kick. Kai's has very little recovery too, but Kai's has more recovery than this. Like, Kai's is easier to punish than this 100%. So this needs to be more aligned with that. This doesn't need to be this free. As for his heavy DP, this move doesn't have much recovery either. It has, like, it's active or it's he's in the animation for a while, so you can punish it. But once he lands, he's pretty much able to move, right? Also, this just does so much fucking damage. Like, this move does an absurd amount of damage. Like, well, it's on counter hit, but the damage is the same, right? Even if I take him off a counter hit, it still does like around 30%. It does 25 to 30% just for landing a reversal. And I'm sure you've seen, you know, the combos. You know what I mean? Like, you can get a whole that, like, you can get a lot of damage off of that. Not to mention this, you can combo into this and get a ton of damage. So I mean, the damage on this needs to be toned down. It's ridiculous. Yeah, and I mean, I know you can say, oh, but Kai's heavy DP does have the same amount of damage. Kai can't really combo off his heavy DP. And if he can, it's very difficult and not reliable. Soul can reliably do it. He can reliably use it to start a combo that, like I've seen, I wish I could find it, like an 80% combo that starts off a heavy DP. It's insane. So the damage on this needs to be toned down. It just needs to. And I think if we make those changes to Soul, he becomes a much more balanced character. I know that's not that much to change because I don't want him to be bad. I don't want to nerf him. If he's still top tier, that's fine. But he's just so absurdly broken right now that I think these are the things you would need to tone down to bring him more in line with the rest of the cast. But what do y'all think, man? Let me know, do y'all disagree with these changes? Do y'all think he needs to be nerfed even more? Do you think these changes are too much? I think these are very fair changes. I think even Soul players would have a hard time arguing that these are bad changes. It's like, I just don't want the character to be completely busted and stupid, but I'm okay with him being good, right? And I think the other characters like Kai just needs to be buffed. Faust just needs to be buffed, right? And then characters like Leo and Mei will get slightly tweaked. And then that'll be that. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. If y'all enjoy the content, comment, like, subscribe, you know the vibes. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, man. JSF, I'm gone. Peace.